morning, class. Welcome to Homeroom with Unk and Market Monk. Morning, P. How's your week?
That was really good. So just had a couple pretty massive winners. IBM was a little surprising. Actually, shout out to secondary on that one because I didn't like it for the casino and um, kind of see why it dropped, but then just came right back. But just kind of reminder about that. I hopped into it and it went nuts. I mean, the day of it recovered and then like got 9% or something on Friday. So when you're in low IV options of any kind, that just goes crazy. So that was the big winner for me. A lot of maintenance here and there. Oil, just really loved our entries there, and took a little off. But kind of feel like that one's just getting going. A lot of overreactions in metals and rare earths and all that. So they're creating some nice range on pullbacks. So I think my outlook on those, as far as active trades, is changing a little bit too. So we'll be talking about that.
Yeah, kind of a mixed bag week, but it was a good mixed bag of some DCA charts, some oversold charts with not the hugest positions. No, I'm not playing P10 and Clove by any means with large positions, but I'm definitely playing it with enough we can get a trade out of the range that I see, and then the table pounders got lucky with that just kind of happening in one day, and I don't really try to I'm talking about the donut one. I don't really try to like update the thesis when you get big moves. I just you just kind of
Yeah,
manage the position, and it just keeps the emotion out of it if you just kind of go to the financial part of it then and say, take some now, take some here, and here, and adjust this in a day or two if the volume doesn't stay in. But yeah, I mean overall everything's good. Even like some bigger names like American Airlines and Halliburton. They for my entry they're good. Again, maybe not bought the biggest positions lately, but um, staying on the chart shapes and the situations
yeah.
and the sectors really have helped. So
Well,
good,
with
pretty good overall.
something like Target,
Yeah,
there
ain't
was
even
no news about Target or
nah.
anything. That's just again, that's just the chart,
Yep.
right? I mean, it just reached a point for some relief, some equilibrium, whatever you want to call it, and you just get it, below that level that you have in mind, and you can trade it back to it, and you're good. And it's one of those that you also could just hold it if you feel like it. They're not going anywhere. So,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
that's
that was
a
a
that's one thing. Like I mean, through the room being active, you kind of start thinking, or like how I can make the sauce better, right? Do I put salt or pepper in the goddamn thing? and
yeah,
and it, or what do I got to do? How are they not mixing it right to get it fluffy enough, or whatever the case may be?
right, right,
I'm a cooking guy, but for me, like yeah, the levels are RTL, and you're right. You buy below them, or you start buying at them, and give yourself some room. And it was 80 or 87. I said 87 or 81 there, and we only got the one dip below 87. It was the day everyone thought the sky was falling. So most people weren't buying that on that day, and like you said, it's the ER, the news, the sector, the tariff, anything, a CEO change.
yeah,
You cannot tell me how it's gonna affect the stock, the ER report, but you can't tell me for
right,
certain which way they could have good news and it be bad news. Look what T-Mobile's report this week. T-Mobile had a great report. They're down like 8%. Trust me, I know. I got a phone call about
yeah,
it.
yeah,
My buddy was panicking. He's like, "What's this
yeah,
report?" It's just sometimes it's just how it is. But one thing I've learned through this game is what you said in the beginning, that usually sticks. That usually is up from there. Like a
yeah,
high percentage of time, it goes up from there. And I learned through time, all right, it doesn't go to the moon. Shit, it might not even make the mountaintop, but it's going to get me
right,
back to the valley. And that valley's going to be 10, 20%. And I can go from there. And I mean, and that's the sauce. That's the frosting on the
yeah.
cake. That's it for me. And that, getting that message across to people, um, is what I'm here for. And I don't know if you've seen. I think it was Sweeney's message Hopefully, I got the guy's name right. But that's it for me, P. That's my golden ticket. That's what I hang on the
Yeah.
wall. That's what I want to post on Twitter. Is when someone says, "You know what? I had just been listening to you fuckers trade, and it's helped me a lot." And not even talking about me, talking about my people, right?
Yeah.
That's just it for me.
Right. And I think and that's something I've always tried to emphasize about the pivots and sort of how I trade them is that I mean they're not set in stone as like, well, if it goes below this level, it's game over, right? It's not like that. It's if it when it drops below that level, there's going to be typically an effort to bring it back up because there's just a setup there. There's a setup there that just keeps getting repeated. Algos, whatever, scam, manipulation, rigged market, whatever you want to say. But like, I mean, that's where to pay attention, and it matters a lot to me how something gets to a pivot, and not just that it's there. Like a slow bleed out to some level um, isn't going to wake things up the way that a kind of aggressive flush will. It's the whole, and on the options, the time on this is a lot more condensed, but it's why I like the morning flush as a setup that it wicks below a level and it's like, okay, that's gonna just crush the call premiums and I can give this a shot, and you're gonna know quickly if it works or not, and it works more than it doesn't, or wouldn't keep doing it. Not that that stops anybody in trading, but that's kind of that's the idea. So I think that and stocks react differently, but when you're setting price alerts and you're talking buy zones, you really have to also have in mind other other factors. What those factors are, kind of, it sort of depends. But for me, it's what brought it there. What's the history of this level? Have I traded this setup before? What does the flow look like when it gets there? So what exactly happened? What's the wider scenario rather than a price? It just hits a price where people are buying and selling it. Just hitting the price is never enough to me. So there has to be more. And I know we have different things we look at, but I know you kind of feel the same way about setups and like news for me too. Is important. I mean, if the in news and sector. So I don't know your thoughts on that.
The price thing I think is the biggest issue problem for people, and I mean you understand that well. Like it's not just arriving at a price. There's the price of the first thing I thought is the price is like the background screen in Mortal Kombat. But
Yeah.
you're a baseball guy, so we'll just say the price is the baseball park you're playing in. That's all
Right.
that's all it really is. It's not super important to the game. I mean, it's probably
Yeah.
there's so much other stuff. The weather, the players, the umpire. All that stuff is what kind of bats are we using? We wiffle ball, baseball. Like, what are we playing even? Is way more important to the park, the price. So yeah, there's things I look at, and to jump back into that conversation where you were, when you were talking about your pivots and stuff. Like, yeah, our stuff isn't like. I was really thinking during that time. Our stuff's not. You don't want to use the same rules like that I use that you use in your trading in
Yeah.
general at all. And I've always said like you're the fast moving EMA and I'm the slow moving ENA, and that really does apply with how you trade. So if you want to trade a little slower, shares are for you. Um, but it's similar action.
Yeah.
Like I'm playing 5 card draw and you're playing no limit Texas Hold'em, right? We're still playing poker.
Right.
We're still playing
Right.
poker. And for me, I mean, when you were talking, I was like, no, P, what I want my level to be is a higher low. Like I'm more worried about the higher low than my level. If I had a number one thing, I'm like, but make my higher low off the level. And you were saying that how it got there. Well, I always say that is how or where it's been, right? That
Yeah.
over. That's why you zoom out on the weekly and we look for that overall trend. I mean, because if your stock has range, like a Next, I can just throw that name out there. If you're on like a 10-day, 5 minute or 15 minute, that could look like a fucking nightmare. It really could, but if you look back and you look at the 3 months or 4 months of candles, especially weekly candles, it's just pulled back to a higher low and an uptrend, and that's really what I like to trade is uptrends that just that retrace has enough range. Um,
Yeah.
throw my level on a higher low, that's even better, and then yeah, you get into level two, um, and you can just see what's defended. You can see who's playing the game, right? You see who's on third base. You can see who's in the outfield. You can see who's behind the plate. And yeah, you can tell if it's going to be, for lack of better terms, explosive or stuck in the box, as I always say.
Yeah, and then to get an example of what I'm talking about, like so let's say we have, I'll just sort of just throw some numbers out instead of a specific stock, but we have something that where the channel is $2.20 to to 350 or something like that,
No,
and
we don't.
so
No,
the
we don't.
trade
Sorry, go.
the trade so that the trade happens right and it blows way past the top of it goes to $5 or something.
Yep, yep.
And then later, 6 months later, whatever, it fades back, it fails, they have bad earnings, whatever, and then it's like, oh hey, look, it's 220 again, but it had just fallen from
Yeah,
7
that's not good.
to 220. So it's not the same setup as when
Do you know
it
why?
was working its way up into the zone and had that move up.
You want that move to happen. And we just had it with like Beyond. If you look
Yeah.
in the group with Beyond, like I was like I'm not touching it, and 2 days later I was like, all right, I'm gonna play this today. And then I took my trade and I said thank you and I walked away. But the reason is there's in the that situation compared to your situation is that quick move back down. There's no time to build levels in there, so there's still, lack of better terms, no liquidity in that range. If you give it 6 weeks, there's going to be a lot of people that probably bought the top or that got in at a bad spot that are going to start selling, and then you're going to have some more liquidity to move through. People need to move those shares above that price, and it's just, yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah.
Just in general, it's never gonna be the Sayer move. It's probably not gonna make. That's like a mid candle at best. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
That's what I was thinking with this one. Absolutely. That, and we're not to that. No one's asking me about buying Beyond. We're kind of
oh,
like,
they did.
oh, they did. Oh, okay. No one's asking me. I guess because and by the way, I mean, I think with this one, it is sort of interesting that the flow on it, I didn't really post much, like, because of it was a little bit shaky and tainted, and it just wasn't gonna last. I mean, if you were in this, and I did well on it, but I mean, honestly, I was bagged on it. I was in like the 190s, like back before that big drop, right? And
Oh,
so,
you didn't get out of that first trade? Jesus.
um, no, I just held on to it. It wasn't huge or anything. It was just I was just whatever. I
Two
mean,
dollar
I
two dollar
didn't
stop.
have a stop, wasn't really paying attention,
$2
and
stop.
then I was like, oh
Um,
crap, and then it went under one and whatever. But it yeah, not my best moment. But in any case, I got lucky and it happens. But yeah, so I didn't have a lot of reads on that, and then the reads during this drop are not particularly reliable, but I do think they will be. But it's just going to be a much different thing. It's not going to be close to this. It's like AMC on the way down and had a few moves back up and all that. But this already is fully into the mode of turning people into conspiracy theorists, and it happened much faster than it did with the meme stocks that way back when.
I was pretty damn early on this, just in general overall thesis. But I thought we had a decent trade, and then just called it good. And then I was not buy. I know you said to buy it at 50 cents, but I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. And then the dollar just didn't see the volume in it. And after that, I just waited for a position to scalp it once, so I didn't feel like a
Yeah, yeah,
loser. I mean, and I seen him talking about it this morning. I'll tell you, I bought mine basically off the 5 psych, and then I got, I mean, the best I got out of it I think was like $1.30, $1.40, but most of that
Mhm.
was gone a lot earlier than that. So I mean, and I didn't have a lot of it. I think I only bought like 500 shares. So I mean, it wasn't like the hugest trade in the whole world. Um, but yeah, so if you're thinking, oh, I didn't get $1 to 8, no one does. And if you do, you're a fucking maniac. Like
Yeah,
just
the
get just close a fucking green trade and move on. Like it wasn't like the price came back. Like if you got anything out of this chart and you look at it right now, you should be happy because there are
yeah.
so many people bagged in this.
Oh, for sure. And they're doing it, this thing now where on the way down, news starts coming out. Walmart's going to sell their product in stores. You know, Long John Silver's veggie, whatever
Hmm.
veggie fish fillets, or I mean, but none of that shit's going to move this while it's doing this. I mean, that kind of stuff when it can wake a chart up that's kind of quiet, but I mean the full mechanics of whatever's happening here is going to play out, and it's going to have a couple maybe 5-10% days to the upside um, during this, but no, I mean you just kind of stay away once a chart does this move
Yeah,
to me. I
and
mean,
if you
yeah,
want to know why it was 5 to 7, dollar 30 or so, RTL will tell you every fucking time,
yeah,
every time.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and the other one's safer.
yeah.
That's why it was a table pounder. You're gonna see that though. I think Pete, just a lot of, I don't know, the lack of places for people to be, and
Mhm.
overall bullish market. You're gonna see things like this. So hopefully
That
we.
was what that conversation we had a couple weeks ago where I was like, yeah, these stocks. I'm just seeing activity and the ones around a dollar, under a dollar, too. And you mentioned how you kind of prefer the ones that are, a dollar and change with two in mind over the ones that are 50 cents,
Yeah, I can't
you
do
know.
the 50 cent ones.
Yeah.
It's just this is so big. I mean, it's so the problem with that is you have to go really small, and then
Mhm.
you just I just don't like to get full size. You're gonna. It's like you talk about the spreads and the options. I mean, it's 10% some days, and if you're 6 grand into something and it's moving 600-800 bucks on you on share, that's not good. We all know
Yeah.
three. I've said that comment a million times. I can lose 200-300 bucks, no problem. 4 or 5, I'm like, God damn, kind of sucks. We start getting above that, and it's like, whoa, time out. So I know my
Right.
psychology. I mean, the biggest advantage I have is I know my psychology. Try to keep it level no matter the market conditions, and I know that. That you think everyone should know that. You've had big wins and big losses.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should really know where your head goes in those situations, and what to do and what not to do, and what gets you in trouble and what doesn't get you in trouble, and what you should do. And I'm sorry, it cost me like 30 bucks to go play golf, and that's just way cheaper than fucking up a trade.
Uh, yeah. No, absolutely. Right. Um, yeah. I mean, in the option world, especially, you have to have that, know you're wrong quickly. Just, move
Yes,
on. And,
yes,
and then, you sort of learn that, I mean, the more time that you buy, then the more time the price isn't going to move as quickly. See, the only problem with it though is for a setup that is going to be a very quick move. If you buy too much time, it's not really even worth it. You might as well just be in, uh, find something more sustained as a swing. But if you just want like a quick hitter, you kind of learn which contracts are going to work best for that, and then you just get in and out. And then for me, I mean, the main idea there is that for moves to the downside, I like them very short expiration, very very quick. Um, you can hedge more easily and more cheaply doing that for one thing. But then just the market we're in, the the downside moves aren't lasting. It's just like
mm,
it's gonna have a bad morning, and then that's it. I'm not gonna sit here and you get two fat candles down on 5 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever, and then it's just going to grind up all day. Why am I going to sit there and hang around in that when I know that that's probably what's going to happen? It's going to lose half that move to the downside or more. So, are you going to swing puts? Worst possible market to swing puts in. And so I don't even know why people try to do that.
No, I agree with that. You know what really grinds my gears is
Yeah.
you find I like I don't have it, but I like your quick hitter
Yeah.
as you say it. But some bitches will fucking post their coffee table on Facebook Marketplace and drive that some bitch halfway across town, meet someone at Walmart to sell it for $40. But they won't take a $40 trade. It's not enough.
Yeah.
Make no
Right.
sense. It made no sense. And I mean, just it bothers me in that situation because it's legit called a quick hitter. I mean,
Oh yeah.
in what other aspect in life if someone's going to give you I don't know why I'm stuck on $40 today, but if someone give you $40, you're not going to take it. In what other situation? And and in the option game, especially in the option game, and sometimes a share game, even though I don't use that term quick hitter, it's sometimes it's a lot more than $40. But just in
Yeah.
general, that mindset, like, yeah, that always bothers me.
Well, I think you in the option trading, you cannot get caught up in, well, what was the maximum gain on this contract? And I call people out on this thing all the time. Like this guy was trying to say that on his MMM that he basically, he crushed it on this trade. Well, his overnight weekly went from $200 to $25, and then came back up to like 3 or 400. But are you really going to call that a win? I mean, you got lucky if you held the thing, and you also, by the way, had time to get out. So like it opened maybe down 20%, fell all the way to $25. So 200 to 25, and then came back. Um, then you're calling that a win? I don't believe you, or you're really stupid. I mean, that's possible too. But like, you can't like say like, especially when you're saying like, this is what I'm telling people to buy, and this was a good thing that happened. It wasn't. It wasn't at all. I mean, you just you're in the gutter, and then it came back, and that happens in options, especially the low IV ones, right after earnings. But the lesson there is that the trade's the day after.
Yeah.
It's not just to hold and hope the thing that you bought the night before. And I have in the ER casino all the time. I mean, like I'll trade something that has an IV crush that I was in. But it's not just holding the contract that I had. It's a new thing. I just put the other one out of my mind and go. And sometimes they come back or whatever, but it's not that's not what I really was aiming for. I was aiming for the big move overnight, and you sell the thing in the morning. And if you don't get that, it's not the same trade. And then just on a related note, that when you have a win in options, like I was talking about IBM, you go 350 to $800. That's pretty damn good. You cannot sit here and then worry about, oh, that thing went to $4,000. Damn, I missed it. You didn't miss it. I mean, it's just, yeah, the charts are going to move every day. You're not going to be in the whole thing. And if you did try to stay in the whole thing with a weekly option, 9 times out of 10, that thing's going to zero or down 50%. I mean, you're not gonna just always get caught in the great move up or the great move down and hold through all that. No, you don't, because that one that you bought for 350 that went to 800, it went down to six first, or 550 before it went to 4,000. So you're gonna sit here. It's $800. You're gonna sit here and watch it go to 550. And you're just gonna sit there and be like, well, tomorrow it might go up. Yeah, I'm gonna lose all this theta decay, but IBM might go up 9% tomorrow. No, you have no. I mean, there's no fucking way that
Yeah.
predict that or anything. So anyway, yeah, my
The
rant.
number one, I mean, I don't think it's obvious, but it should be pretty fucking obvious. But number one reason I swing trade um, is to take time out of the situation or make it
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
variable. One, because I have plenty of it, and two, because I've tried the other way, and it's not, again, it's like a 50-50 battle. Um,
Yeah.
Not to knock on you, but that's why I kind of stay away from ERs, because my system doesn't give you an advantage. I can't play the high and the low side of it, right? So
Right.
it just doesn't really work for me. So I tend to try to keep that out of the equation for the most part, unless I can get a good read and it's a company I like and I'm looking for that play around it. But I'm 100% on the same page as you. That second day is usually a better spot to be.
Well, and when I get people, and I really I don't mind this. I don't want people to take it the wrong way, but when they start asking me for ER reads, I mean, I'll tell you, but like, I already looked at this. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
there isn't one that anyone's ever asked me that like I've already seen it, and it does, it didn't fit what I look for in the ER casino. I try to stay very limited there, um, and that works. If I was just shotgun theory and had six per day in there, that room would not be worth. You would make me shut it down. It would be, I guarantee you, it would be so bad that you'd be like, well, we can't be
we
posting
can't be
this.
doing that.
Yeah, yeah, right. I mean, it's like if I had a if I had a meme coin page, right?
Sure.
Um, it would be like, no, that's not what we're going to be doing. But the reason you're supportive of that page existing is you kind of see how it
I
works, and
graded
even if
it. I checked the homework. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, and and reads are like that, in general. Like when you ask me for reads in collabs, the percentage on those is really good. I mean, it's better. So when you're asking me, the read comes out, the result of the read is better than when I ask you, and I expect that because a lot of times, especially the flow first stuff, there aren't level. I know there aren't levels. They're trying to create levels with the options,
Yeah.
and so we kind of go back
Well,
and forth and
it's not a fair comparison. I mean, look
right.
how many like
Yeah.
all-time charts you have. I mean, you've
Yeah.
never
Exactly.
gotten
Right.
that from me. And if
Yeah.
let's just say your read is, and it checks out on my end is good, and my read on your end checks out and my end is good, like that way. Mine's always going to be better because I'm looking for the shittiest chart for me. Like I'm looking for the worst of the worst charts. Like they're supposed to turn around, and you're looking for the best flow. So it's just, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
mine should always have the more longevity. I wouldn't say better. I'd just say more longevity to them. If especially if they check out on your end. I mean, that's the whole point for me.
Right. Right. And yeah. And then what I'm getting at with
Yeah.
that
So
too
so
is
if your flow read's good, sorry P, but if your
yeah.
flow read's good, I'm just telling you there's enough ratio, right? Like
Right.
from
Right.
my side, okay, there's enough trade ratio to trade from shares where, like, I've already identified this is a home run. This could be a home run, P, if you have, short term fives and then the 20s in the back, something like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like something like I'll give everyone kind of a freebie here, but like waste management or something like that. I mean, there were times on the way up. I mean, particularly in this part here, this kind of 160 up there, where I kept posting this, and you're just like follow the flow, follow the flow.
Yeah, yeah,
That
confident.
it became an options trade, and when you're sometimes when you say like I don't really have anything, um, flow still says what it says. It's
Yep.
probably going up there, but it's just you buy that at 200 and to trade it to 215, that isn't really worth it share side necessarily.
Yeah.
But
The
but the
move, but
flow,
the move is there. Yeah, the move.
the
Well,
move
I
is there.
just look at
Yeah.
your like strikes and like for me, I mean, I've seen it enough. I didn't start with telling you to follow the flow. I, lack
Yeah.
of better terms, felt bad for kind of not leading you the wrong way, but not giving you the check. So when I seen like your strikes at a certain point and the chart would make it there, yeah, that's a follow the flow, but that ratio doesn't work share side like you say. So yeah, I've
Yeah.
I've I've seen it enough to know that like I needed a separate check to say yeah this works for what you see on your side on the chart. 100%. I did
Yeah.
want to inject about people adding stuff. I'm not necessarily the opposite, but like if I'm on it like that, I have a 500 I go through every Friday. I'm fine with people checking in, but I want some like more context, especially if I've already given you context. I hate when people ask about a chart, and if you would have searched the group, you would have had my answer, and maybe
Yeah.
been able to ask a better question. Like you're
Well,
saying,
right. If it's in,
like how we're talking about the bleed out earlier, or versus the direct drop back to a level. That's the better conversation in question than just again the price that you remembered from before. So
yes, right. And I think too, the it's like teaching. I mean, you want someone like when they ask me a question, I want the question to come out of the homework that they did.
yeah,
And I don't
yeah,
mean homework like something I had them grade, but like I've studied this. Here's what I've studied. Here's where I'm at. I'm stuck here, or would like your your perspective on that. Like you put the work in, and here's the question. Not just like ticker read, ticker read, ticker read. Like you ask me that, um, and but I know about the homework, right?
yeah. I'm
And
not gonna
saying,
write out what I see every time. Fuck, that's a book.
yeah, right, right, yeah, yeah. And me too. And I actually, I mean, so I'm very wordy, not necessarily as a speaker, but writing, like I write long form stuff. I mean, write 30 pages on a medieval manuscript or something. So I try to be as concise as possible in here. And you had me sort of expand it out a bit. And that's part of where the emojis came from. And those emojis, like it's sort of silly to have emojis, but they sort of speak volumes. The soap bar, the boxing glove, and all that stuff. And then the conversation starts from there. But yeah, I mean the when people just throw a ticker at me, I mean the results on the flow read are like 2 for 10 or something like that. And in fairness, they're often asking, "I'm already in this and I'm up on it, and I'm just wondering, what the flow looks like up here." Those are hard reads for me because I really like your, after 10% you're on your own or whatever,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it gets here you're on your own, and I think that there's kind of an important in there that I those names, if it like when snow or whatever comes back around, I'd rather it be just a new setup instead of just how much more can we squeeze out of the last bit of this thing. I don't like that the tail end of a move, that read, because I'm not trying to call the top on things. And so when you ask me that, you are like, whoever asked me that, you're asking me to read flow in a way that I don't normally do it. And I just want I'll tell you what I see,
Yeah,
but
always.
that's important to understand that you are, I have a method, a system, all of that, and the kind of read you're asking for is not part of that setup. You're asking me to throw a knuckleball. I know how. I can try
Yeah,
it,
100%.
but I'm not going to do it in a game. That's the thing.
Yeah. No, I mean I used to scalp daily. I, I, you know, same thing. You don't need to throw that knuckleball if you don't have to. Um,
Yeah,
well, I wanted to inject a little bit. It's gonna be a little unky. Apologize in advance to anyone take it the wrong way. But and I'm not picking on my boy here because he's fucking coming through lately. But if you the we talked about it. Me and you had a little bit of talk about it. But the like you set an alert so you see the price come up. Price comes up. You post about it. I have no problem putting in as much work as you. Like I'll just post when it's out of the buy zone when you can't buy it, and hopefully someday we
yeah,
arrive when we're talking about what we're doing inside that zone a little bit more than it's just here. Um,
right. Yeah,
um, the bigger picture of that is when we started this. I mean, I was adamant and still am adamant, and we're working out just fucking fine. We're going into end of our fourth, start of our fifth year. We're gonna be just okay over here. Um, that we're not alerting. We're not alerting, and when if I do stuff, I'll tell you why. I mean, it's simple. If this is gonna pan out, I'm gonna be golfing in Hawaii and stuff. I don't know, and you're gonna have to know how to trade, and the research is gonna have to carry both of us. And so far, this is panning out for me. So, um, the injunction of the 10% for everybody, or 10% you're on your own, is that also, when I started that, the initial thought was, I don't want to manage people's shit. I do not want to. What do I do? What do I do? I want people to have an understanding that we are going to be able to find another one. We have jokes that I joke about all the time. That was the last one we're ever going to find. Sorry, guys. I hope you got it all. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
because like it's more the brick by brick process. So I don't want to have to manage people's stuff, because if I do win, I'm not going to be as it, there on the screens as much, right? Like that's who would win and have good longs and whatnot, and still be grinding as hard. I'm gonna look for less is more in the long run. That's just how it's gonna work. I want to find the SoFis of the world and live my life, of
yeah.
course. And so like I start to trust people in the room and want to give a little more, but I don't want to manage their trades. And that's where every like the swing list is coming from, and me explaining to people like, I'm just trying to get you stuff so you don't get bagged, so you can learn to manage, because that's most important. um, and it just all comes back to building the trader in that regard. And I don't think that most people see it as that way. It is a show up and get on the minute chart and see what I can get today. But the win rate in here shows that if you just kind of like stay on things over time and then know when to trade them, you'll be better off. So, um, I'm here more for that than anything. But if right now, if you don't notice, if you ask a good question in the room, you get an answer in a chart from me. Like that's where we're at
Yeah.
right now. And
Right, right.
if you have a one word not thought out question, you get a one word not thought out answer. So again, here's a shovel. I got one too. How much are we digging? And the room's been great. I'm not bitching at anybody right now. I just think that more people can grab a shovel and people can take a little better scoops.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can just the again back to teaching. The more they put into it, the more I'll put into it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I learned really quickly. I mean, I used to have students, they'd really like half-ass a rough draft, and I would end up writing more than them. That in my feedback, and I'm like, okay, I'm telling them some things that I'm sure they already know. You wrote this last night, and you know that there's a ton of problems here. So I started to just well, we're gonna skip all that. Come back to me when you've put the work in that you need to. I'm not coming down on you. There's still, this isn't due for 3 weeks, but what you gave me, there isn't much here, and so here's what you need to do, and you make it more concise. But it's like, hey, you send me something that's nearly done. I'm gonna put in and you still have the and they know if I just turn this in as is, I can make a B or A minus or something. But I really want it to be better. I'm going to put the work in to help you make it better. And the same with same with trading. People who just observe and read our stuff and use it, you can do great doing that.
Yeah. Solid B.
If you
Solid B.
if you yeah, if you want to build and develop and find your own style and do all that, I'll certainly help you build that. Just show me what steps you're taking, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, and if you're I don't know how you equate it to the school. You have the analogy, but in trading, it's greed. If you have greed, you have to do a little more work because you're just at a
Yeah,
disadvantage.
yeah,
I
right.
don't know how else to
Yeah,
put
that's
it.
true. Right.
I don't know
Yeah.
how else to put it. Um, I got two notes. I'll save the second one for a little bit. Let's talk like China shut down ER. It was a three I
Mhm.
had. I think you had something else in there though too. Oh, um,
No, that'll work. Yeah.
okay, yeah, yeah,
Um,
but that just the
so
market conditions. We talked last week about. Sorry, I'm gonna start this one. We talked last week about like I said, sometimes you just don't even try to guess what's in control. Just you know, not picking a side. You can't be right or wrong, and you just kind of just be mindful that there's a lot going on. And um, man, did we did good with the numbers at the end of the week? Was it CPI? That market loved that. Shutdown kind of hanging out. It's past my date. Doesn't really seem like it's really the market knows we'll figure it out. And
Yeah.
I know you said the China deal just happened, but in general, I know we had a taco trade in the spring, but it pretty much seems like the market thinks Trump will figure out anything on the plate, and it doesn't really affect it. It just waits for the decision and then absorbs the news.
Yeah, right. And I'm looking at China through the lens of Bitcoin, and 108 makes sense to me now.
That's a good number.
You know that they held that level, and we're waiting on this, and it popped back up. Certainly can fade
113,
back down.
108. Yeah, 1013, 108. That was it.
Yeah, yeah. But this is why the past 3 weekends, um, I had a crypto position that I held through the weekend, hedged it and all that, but and did well on all of them, and this one's likely going to be the best one of that three, and I'm kind of going to back off of that now, and more just day trade the thing, but it was why I was trying the short swings on the coins and MSTRs of the world, and this was pretty much it. So yeah, I think that the China news is definitely positive, but like it isn't really like set in stone. It's like we were gonna do this thing, and now we'll back off that. We're not gonna do 100% tariffs. They're not gonna be as restrictive on rare earths. They're gonna delay that by a year or whatever, and that just sets the whole playing field back up, and you know and whatever. But that clearly what happened today was clearly the news that some of these setups we're waiting on, and we see where they go from here. But to me, the news pop like that in and of itself is kind of the trade, and then you set back up.
I got some, I mean, unrelated, but I got some China's. I got a China basket, so hopefully that wakes up good in the morning. Um,
Oh, sure, yeah.
uh,
Well, and
you
and
want to
the
pop that on
shutdown.
a day chart while you're talking there?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Now the shutdown. Um, so something like 12% of Americans are on like you know food assistance and stuff like that,
Sorry.
and right, and so the backup plan for crypto bros or whatever is that. But anyway, but that November 1st, that stuff gets cut. So the point being that the shutdown news starts to get a little more aggressive and dire around November 1st. So I have no idea when they're gonna resolve this. They're not actively even negotiating anything. They're not even in session. They're just sniping back and forth at each other. So I don't know. I would assume it'll just be a continuing resolution when they decide to do
Oh
this.
yeah, we're not.
Um,
Yeah.
they're not going to have any major throughs working with each other. But yeah, I mean, we're the pressure is going to build to resolve that, and the market will reach a point where it will start reacting to the shutdown, but we're not quite there yet.
Um, just real quick on the shutdown, because I want to go back to China and Bitcoin. But I think they're in a spot where they're it's going to be a clean CR or no add-ons, which is basically what they're fighting back and forth on right now. Is clean. No, we got to have some shit in it. But I think
Yeah.
the Trump is in a position where some things are in his favor if they don't open the government back up. And
Right.
so those are like, oh, it's almost a win here or a win there. Which one do you guys want to give me? Um,
Yeah.
China Bitcoin though, yeah, the longer that goes on, the better. I think because it just creates the range in the charts. Um, the better names are better. I want to talk about the retrace of the move here because damn, this thing is about perfect. Although the June July move back here, you can see it on the chart was
Yeah.
a little tighter, just tight. It was just tighter. So it's just the same move and bigger, which we talked a few minutes ago about, not having volatility in the ranges, and that's probably why the move is bigger. No one had Bitcoin in the 120s. There was no
Yeah.
price built up there at all. But we're under this weekend. We'll be under 20 candles, and we need that. if you look before the move out of it, which is basically just after July, we need that tight consolidation of candles in the same price range, and hopefully 113, 115 is it. But you're gonna need solid. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, like 15 candles right there before it really gaps up. All tight wiki. But we got the flush a couple times here. I think this is good. Um, laughing at I want no one to take it the wrong way, P. You said the people on benefits, and I kind of started laughing my ass off because I've been waiting to tell you this for all week. Um,
Yeah.
but this is how Unk trades and how y'all should trade. You got to keep it light. But I am a, a 2020 momentum trader, seen the light trader. That's when I got baptized, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
I'm buying Snap right now.
Oh yeah.
That's all I'm
Right.
saying. That's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
I'm saying. Make
Right.
sure you have a piece of it. All
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
I'm done.
No, that's right.
It's
Yeah,
a good
that's
company too, so why not? Good price.
right, and it wouldn't be the first time. I mean, I've seen. I remember when Facebook changed to
Meta.
Meta.
Yep.
Meta Materials, that
Yep.
piece of shit. Like,
MM. Yeah.
and it was just, I actually got a piece of it. I'm like, oh shit, this is coming. And so, it's stupid. I mean, buying the wrong ticker or memeing the ticker or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. That's a thing. All right, you want to get boring?
Yeah, keep going. Keep going. Yeah. Let's keep going.
All right.
Channel.
So,
Well,
gold.
well, go back. What's your Bitcoin for the week? I'm obviously we're gonna start that tight consolidation I just mentioned because we got about 20 candles left. What do you got?
Oh yeah. Top probably 116, 117, and then not won't last, and we'll just sort of
So
be in this range.
little froth.
Won't get back. I don't think we'll get back to 108 again. I'll say like 110, 116.
So just a little frothy is what you're basically
Yeah.
saying. Gotcha.
But yeah, I'll be happy to get out of some MSTR calls in the morning, basically. All right, so gold and silver. Gold finally had its first, pullback of any kind of late, and yeah. So this 4200 area seems like it's going to be something to me. I mean, I think a significant before you really get back into this, you want the pullback where like it's over kind of move, and that's still probably like 38. So I don't know when we'll get to that, but yeah, this certainly could set back up. Silver.
Do you think? Well, it goes with this one too. Same question here, but do you think China deal, because it was rumored they were buying a lot of gold? Do you think that any kind of China deal slows gold down?
Oh yeah, I think that's possible. That's consolidation. That's where I think it's going to come from.
Okay. Silver, I think the move still has more, but
I was about to say that. Yeah,
used in more stuff as well, right?
Silver is going to be more analogous to copper than gold as far as the next leg up. That it's going to, I think it's going to kind of pair with that, and this this copper move could get pretty aggressive to the upside. And I've thought I've said it before, like 5 to 7 is sort of the setup on copper, and it's going to end up that big drop it had was a hell of a gift, and so I hope people got some aluminum, got some copper, traded some, kept some, whatever. But yeah, I mean this is flow wise setting up to be pretty good, and at least retest that last high. I think is where I'm at on that.
I don't know why, but I'm quick to sell the copper, and I hold the aluminum. But I'm with you on that thesis part of it. Like that's where the action is. Did you see the story? Kind of related to the story, the guy that bought $5 million in nickels because because they're mostly copper. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I had to check the name to make sure it wasn't you.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't Neil.
I do. I mean, did you ever like, you get like an older quarter or whatever? And I mean, do you ever like, you know, put aside the real old ones,
Oh, I do. Yeah, 100%.
number ones? Yeah,
Anything like
yeah,
anything before, like anything like the '60s, definitely. And
yeah,
then
yeah. I mean, it was easier when I was a kid because we're old, but
yeah,
definitely
I got a
still see
bunch of
those.
them. I know they're not worth anything, but a bunch of them wheat pennies too.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I always like those.
Ton of
Yep,
those.
yep. All right. So then, going into on China, I've been saying that like this chart looks pretty good for a while. I think we get on the move here,
Who's
Hang
the
Seng. So
who's the other one? I don't get that one. But
yeah, I got you. But
okay, whatever.
um, yeah, and let's see.
Yeah, no, the thing about China is it's always for me is like, all right, is it the just thank you trades off the really big names, or do we need to get it right sizing in these shitty names and just let them cook? Because I mean, trading
Right,
Baba and uh,
Bidu,
Baidu and what's the other? What's the J one? JD? Is it JD?
AD, yeah,
Yeah, trading those is way different than. Don't ask me why. I know these ones better though. Momo, Tao, XPev,
go
Neo,
to, yeah,
GoTo, yeah, all that crap.
yeah.
Those are they're just different trades, but to be honest, in the environment of the last 4 or 5 years, the range is better on the smallers. It fits perfectly. Your risk is going to match your reward because the good names you don't get as much reward as the little names.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, the know what you're in. And Bidu, a pretty like um legitimate AI
Yeah,
stock, right?
yeah.
Versus a company that is going to make flying cars. So you're in a company that says they're going to make flying cars. So just know that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still, you can get 30C, pop up and you'll hit that. But yeah.
You should
All right,
also
the
know, you should also know that the AI company makes videos, and that might be
yeah.
what they're putting out for the flying cars. Sorry.
Oh, right, yeah, yeah, there you go. Right, yeah.
All right.
The 10-year. So yeah, you want again, you just don't want the real aggressive candles. I think this could dip to like 3.8. So um could be a pretty good week for stocks if that happens. But
Does,
yeah, just keep an eye on it for explosive moves in that.
does this come back on when futures kick on? This isn't traded all day. It's not full. It's not always on.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Oh,
Yeah, when
okay.
futures come back
Yeah, I
on.
said
Yeah.
last week. I watched Voice a couple times this week, just because it was a good session. Personally, it was a good session for me. Um, Lots of reminders in there, but I said there like four's failing, so I'm kind of surprised seeing it even at four. Not calling it strength, but I'll just double down on what I said last week. Kind of looks like four's kind of failing here from a TA standpoint. So
Yeah.
the slower the better. We agree. The market does not really. It doesn't pout. It just doesn't pout. I'm not saying it's going against it. I just don't think it cares.
Yeah, I mean the trend day down or gap down and stay down isn't really happening these days.
Yeah, no.
I don't think so why would someone think that all right now's the time to short, you know all
Yeah,
of this,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
these macro conditions. This is when time to pay the piper. It's all over. I don't know how anyone could think they could predict that,
Well, I don't think
based on
people understand how oversold the market actually got.
yeah.
I really don't. I mean, there's still some things that are in the book value. That's not how that works. You don't. You
Right.
usually
Yeah, and this
don't
is where
get
the
dollar for dollar on the office equipment for a company. You just usually don't.
yeah, and this is where a lot of the B plus and B minus software names and things like that. I mean, a lot of them still have a lot of.
Well, I don't want to get too much into it, but the market isn't even separated. Like, let's say someone like a Rivian that is making actual product that costs $60,000 to produce one, or maybe more than that, that they're losing money on in the end. Versus, I have this downloadable program that I created fucking 15 years ago. You want to buy it for $300 a month?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Let me know when.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a different, and you really don't even see that separation, really. You know what I mean? Like if we are in
Yeah.
a real drawback on the economy and materials and whatnot, yeah, we'll be here too long. All right, what's next? Dollar.
Yeah. This is has created a little bit of range here. Probably dips back down 96 to 98 is so I think we probably go back down to 98 or so um, this week. But again, it's another one where it really the chart's kind of quiet, doesn't really matter. You don't want to aggressive moves up, cause some problems, and you get some market will start to pout when that happens. So you just sort of keep it on, keep an eye on it, but there's nothing really to trade about it. It's just defines the conditions in a way.
Do you ever think about trading, like, I know a lot of people use the yen versus the dollar, but trading currencies? You ever think about that?
Um, yeah, I slap myself after
Okay.
I think
Okay.
about it for a
All
minute.
right.
Yeah, no, I mean,
That's it.
I
That's
just,
fair. That's what I needed.
I
That's what I
don't,
needed. That's what I needed.
yeah,
Appreciate you.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of kind of intense manipulation happening with that stuff, but
Yeah,
yeah,
you can't see it. Sorry. Wait a minute.
yeah, yeah,
Because I can't.
yeah.
No, enough
All
said
right,
that.
so then oil, um, yeah, oil just hit just a massively oversold spot. It was just a chart thing to me, but yeah, I still think 60 to 72, um, something like that. I think it's got some room above for some follow through on this move. It's kind of
That
what I'm thinking.
million barrel buy for the strategic oil preserve and the price dipping right there just kind of, it's not coincidence. So
Yeah.
manipulation at its best.
Oh yeah. Yep. So yeah, I think oil stocks they still have their spots, and you want to. It is one where I think you do want to take time out of the equation as much as you can.
I mean, to me, that just looks like Trump said, "I'll buy every barrel, every single one, up to a million, under $60. The first people to
Yeah.
bring them on board."
Right.
And then that's what happened, and they sold it, got the deal covered, and we're back to regular people price.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. And then uh, natural gas.
Buy it.
Yeah, buy it. Still setting up to get 5 to 7, and you don't want to get into the 5 to 7 trade when it's 480. Um, you want to have some that you bought down here, and then figure out what to do with the rest of it once it gets into that zone.
I just want to say this for the regular people that maybe don't put a lot of thought into it, but this commodity is very important for one reason only, and it's because they burn it, and it's okay. It's all kind of considered clean to make electricity, and there's not a lot of shit that they can do that with. That's why we try to harvest the wind and the ocean and shit
Yeah.
like that. This is the only like fuel you can cleanly make electricity out of nowadays. Coal, you need to scrub it and all this carbon capture crap to make it clean, which is frowned upon still. So that's why I'm so interested. But I think a lot of people kind of miss that point.
Right, and it's one that the U.S. has a lot of it and access to a lot of it, and so the demand if the demand for it goes up, which I think it will.
Yeah.
There's this whole series of things that will happen for storage and moving it around and the midstreams, and there's so many good names that we know that will have a lot of room to go up 30-50% share side. So,
Yeah, from book value.
Yeah, that's why we stay on them. All right, so that's it for that. Oh well, Bitcoin. We already talked
Yeah,
about
we did
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. A little spy. Maybe a little spy.
Spot,
Get
yeah.
out of here.
All right.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. 660 is not a pullback. It's not sky is falling. I'm just gonna continue to say that the rest of the year. This thing's coming a little
Yeah,
bit.
and I still kind of no news is good news on my end. I don't have, I still haven't anchored this March 610 to anything. So it's until there's some kind of, I mean, if I had like a 640 or something like that, and then that might even need another one, a 660. I mean, it's they're not really setting up for that. It's all this dead open interest. We're now to November where all of this is going to get off the books, and then we see what's left, and it's any kind of a little bit unhedged right now. So until they set one up, I don't really have a pullback in mind.
Yeah, I don't know the proper metaphor analogy, but the spies the volcano, and the lava is so far out right now that you need to be out there in that froth, and so it's just really not pay spy no mind. And on the pullback,
Yeah,
except for on the pullback days, you buy the good setups. Um, if you think you missed something, and especially a bigger name on those red days, that's when you just shut up and buy. I mean, we literally haven't got 2 red days in a row, so you get the 1 day chance on most things.
yeah, yeah. Totally with you on that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to waste a lot of time here because I don't think it's super relevant to what we're doing currently.
Yep.
Perfect. Ready to get to work?
Yeah. Yep.
Perfect. Like and subscribe. Link somewhere, people.